Hello and welcome to BWAC episode 3. We've made it to episode 3, yay!
Yeah, and hello again from me.
And Bob's sitting here looking at me like, what the hell are we talking about this week? So, as we did previously, we've had a listen to the previous episode and reminded ourselves that we're going to talk about your speech today and things that help your speech. Yeah. So, what do you remember? I may as well jump straight in, isn't it? What do you remember about your speech and how it was affected after the second stroke?
Well, I think the difficulty of finding words or saying what something was or asking for something, basically everything that I would use speech for was affected.
Did you have that initiation problem with speech as well? Did you sort of think that you wanted to say something and then it didn't come out your mouth?
It's hard to say because it could have been both. In my head was, I think, just concentrating find the word, and I wasn't aware initiation
or what the issue is. So, but did you have the word in your head, or was the word not there? Can you remember?
No, it wasn't even on the tip of my tongue.
Just wasn't anywhere.
It was never. I remember saying to you quite a few times, I know what the word is, but I can't even get it to me tip of my tongue.
And you would just stop talking. I remember that.
Yeah.
You'd just stop talking. It was like if you couldn't have that particular word
to carry on,
that was the end of it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so something that might be useful for other people listening, if they've encountered people who have speech difficulties, or if they're having speech difficulties themselves, is that I know the speech therapist said to you, don't focus on that, just keep talking even if you can't get that word. And that was something you found really, really difficult, wasn't it?
Yeah, because she essentially said for the first few times, just talk rubbish if that's all that's coming out.
Yeah, say anything.
But I honestly didn't feel I could do that.
Yeah.
I had to talk sense, or I didn't talk at all. There was no middle ground for me on that.
Yeah.
And I can be quite stubborn. But yes, I know, you're agreeing.
What was the feeling behind that then? Like, you must have been very, very frustrated.
There was just one of many things I was very frustrated about. I think, even though initially I knew I'd had the stroke, I still hadn't at that point accepted it, I think. I was saying, oh, I've had a stroke. But I could easily have said I've had no sorry. I don't think I really believed it. Because like the doctor said, I was walking around and things, and I'm losing the thread quick now.
No, that's fine, because it's just triggered something in me that, like at the moment, we're just sort of focusing on, because we haven't got a plan and we don't really know what we're doing with the podcast. We're just sort of saying, right, this would be a good thing to talk about, and we're taking things in isolation in a way.
Yeah.
Whereas in reality, your speech, as you've just said, was one of many things that you were struggling with, and the very thing of getting up in the morning and getting back through to bed was like a full day's work, wasn't it? You know, a major undertaking. It wasn't.
You name it, and I was probably frustrated about it.
Yeah.
Not angry at it, just frustrated that I, in a way, I couldn't do better, even though it wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
But because I still didn't believe the stroke, perhaps I did think it was my fault in a roundabout way. And
because we tend to be quite positive, or try to be positive, and try to look, even if we're feeling rubbish and, you know, things are really, really hard, we do have that sort of personality where we're both like very, as you say, stubborn and tenacious, and it's like it will get better, it's got to get better, it can't get any worse, as in we won't allow it to get any worse. So I can see where that would come, you know, in your frustration of like, okay, I've had a stroke, but so what? I've got to get better now, and I should get better because I feel like it's not that big an issue. But it was a massive, obviously massive thing. So because we're focusing on the speech thing today, and last time we covered when Nia, the speech therapist, was here, and she was just absolutely brilliant. She just like put both of our minds at rest, didn't she? And gave us things that we could do and tools that we could use. But of course, we can't quite remember all of them now, can we? So,
I think we took most of her advice.
Yeah. So things that helped, we got whiteboards in the house,
which we still use,
and we still use them now. Yeah. We also had a diary with tick boxes, which was to do with activity. So we'll maybe cover that next time on little hints and tips. Maybe
we should explain why we had the whiteboards up. Yeah. Well, from my point of view, I could see what was happening in the day. It was listed basically what I needed to do and what time, more or less. And I still have to refer to the board, especially if I'm introduced to anything new that needs doing, because it'll just go out the window. And, you know, we didn't just have a whiteboard in the lounge. I think we had 3, wasn't it? 3. We got one magnet to the fridge.
Yeah.
And there was another one in the kitchen to tell me wherever in that room.
Yeah.
That's where I was supposed to be at.
And actually we did have, so I think it was suggested that we put labels on things because you would know what something was. For instance, we go back to your socks, you'd know what your socks were, but you might not know the word. So we actually put labels on the drawers and on like the wardrobe and stuff, wasn't it? Say shirts, t-shirts, socks, so that you would actually recognise the word when you were, or hopefully recognise the word, when you were getting the items out ready for use. And so that was one of the things. I also bought, you can actually get stroke activity books, which are like puzzle books.
But slightly different.
Yeah, with different activities. And some of those you found really, really challenging because obviously you couldn't use your right hand very well to hold a pen or anything. So I think one of the things that I bought was dot to dot.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the people in the gym when you went to rehab, one of the men was like, didn't want to have anything childish. What they felt was childish. They were really, really frustrated. And they were like,
dot to dot.
Yeah, but I would encourage anybody who's, you know, got any sort of deficit, because we know now, don't we, that repetition actually helps to rebuild that pathway.
Well, that brings back to the whiteboards nicely. I have my routine every day, and as long, and I'm talking even today, as long as I follow it and I do it around the time that it's supposed to be done or happen, I'm a happy little bunny. But if anything suddenly happens, which means one of my things in routine suddenly I don't get to do, I don't get upset, but I get really confused, almost very mixed up. I get a sense of not knowing what's happening, and in my head it's all blown way out of proportion because it's, in reality, this is a minor thing. But to me, as even today, it's very important that I know what I'm doing and what time. Because that means if we have to go out or we have an appointment and that will be, say, the time I wash up, I'm prepared for it. I've had time to say on that day I can't do it because. But if it just happens that I can because.
Yeah, and you can get quite upset.
I do.
If something throws you off like that. So yeah, we do have to plan ahead, don't we? For sure.
Where do I go in my head?
That's another episode.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Go to No Man's
That'd be a nice surprise for you.
So we've gone nicely away from the speech thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so routine is incredibly important, isn't it?
The biggest thing.
Yeah. And so practice, going back to speech, things, I guess in a way, like you said, that if you couldn't say the word that you wanted to say, you weren't going to move on. And that's a bit tied into like the to your routine as well. You know, you can be quite fixed on certain things.
Yes.
But a couple of tips that Nia said. So the first one was just say any word. So it doesn't matter if you're talking about whatever you're talking about and the word fish comes out inappropriately. Don't worry about it. Just keep talking. The other thing was to describe what you're trying to say. Well, the word that you're trying to find, to describe it, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the one I really got stuck up on was a cat, I think, or something. And I was calling it every kind of feline animal, tigers.
I think you were doing a test, weren't you? And it was either a lion or a tiger or a cat. You were calling it everything except the word that you could.
Yes.
Yeah. And was it helpful?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I was just, sometimes it's hard for me to recall things.
Yeah.
You know.
Another thing that we said actually found was really useful and quite amusing because Bob doesn't sing. He's not a singer. But actually, if I say to him, if he gets stuck on a word and I'll say sing it, it seems to pop out, doesn't it? The word just seems to pop up. If the other options haven't worked. So singing it can be.
Yeah. And I know that's because I am Welsh, born and bred, but I don't sing. I buck the trend, which is quite typical of me.
Yeah.
Really.
I think your singing career started and finished with your choir.
I was a boy soprano, and I think going to church every Sunday, that finished me, I think.
Yeah, so those things were really useful. But another issue that you still have now is with regards to reading. Okay, so we're carrying on. So, shall we say what happened? You're frowning at me.
Yeah, I'm lost as to where we were.
Yeah. So there was just a little bit of after Bob had been talking.
A
technical issue.
Caused by me.
Yeah. So after we've been talking about things not being done a certain way, for the first two podcasts, Bob's had a timer that he set the clock and been like the timekeeper.
But I didn't have one on the first one. Had one on the second time. But
you did have one on the first one.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been doing it often enough.
No, exactly.
For it to become part of me. So we're going to write it at the top of the list, don't we? For next session, so I can start my time.
Yeah. So you'd suddenly realise you hadn't got your timer, even though there's a timer on the recording.
Yeah, and I started fiddling with it to avoid basically crashing because it was completely through. I can't overemphasize how something as simple as that impacts it. You can't just say, "Oh, forget it. We'll do it."
It's like a compulsion, isn't it?
Yeah, I have to keep myself on track.
Yeah.
What do I say? I run on rails.
Yeah.
And that's too easy to derail me.
And I kind of realised, but because I could see the time,
you can see it on your phone. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But obviously, you couldn't see it. And then he started to write me a note, and then we just had to pause. Yeah. So, what was that noise? It's an aeroplane.
Oh, the aeroplane.
Yeah. Okay. So this is actually ties in really, really nicely to what I was going to say, because we focus on speech, but aphasia or dysphagia is not just about speech, it's about language. So it's also about words, written words. And you were absolutely a voracious reader.
5 or 6 books a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can read, you can comprehend the words, but...
About a paragraph on my eyes. Everything... You see on the film where the words just suddenly start moving. That's basically what happens after. As soon as my eyes start to get tired, I can't read anymore.
What about the comprehension part, though?
Well, for the little bit that I've read, I can comprehend it. But usually if I find an interesting article, I'll usually see the first bit, then I'll forward it to you so you can read it and explain it to me.
Yeah, there's something that's a bit too complex.
Yeah.
And certain noises, because that was an unexpected noise outside the house, it was an aeroplane.
Yeah.
They can throw you off as well, can't they? And so audiobooks have become really, really crucial.
Yeah, I mean, it was like not hallelujah, what is it?
Yeah, like a revelation, yeah.
Hallelujah moment when I discovered audiobooks. And I listen to them all the time.
Yeah.
Now, especially when, if you're doing something, I can just pop an ear thing in and I eat them now, like I did with books.
Yeah.
And yesterday we fiddled with the Kindle, found out there was a thing built into it that would read.
It's called assistive reader, isn't it?
Yeah, on Kindle, assisted reader. It will actually speak out what it says. I mean, the voice is not very good, but saves me trying to struggle with it.
And there'll be people out there who are far more tech savvy than we are. We tend to find something that works and stick with it. Bob's actually like the researcher. You will look and try and find things, and you'll see things that are useful. And that brings us nicely on to something that really, really helped, which was and is still going, a podcast that's still going.
Well.
It's a podcast called The Slow Road to Better, and it was set up, so you found it more or less at the beginning, didn't you?
Yeah.
Late 2016.
In Arizona?
Somewhere in America.
Yeah, I think it's Arizona. I can't remember the town.
The facility is called the Stroke Comeback Centre, so it's a rehabilitation facility. And Bob said, I found this podcast that's by people with brain injury, stroke, who have aphasia.
Well, it wasn't just stroke, was it? There were different types of brain injury.
Yeah.
And I think there were six or so. I don't know. It was a group anyway.
Yeah, it was a group of people, and a little bit like our podcast. Although I don't suppose ours will ever become professional like theirs is now. But it literally, I think they literally had a microphone on the table, and it was just set up as part of the rehab to basically share their experiences and to encourage other people to,
And there were people in different stages of recovery, which kind of helped as well.
Yeah. I saw that it helped you because there were people there doing the podcast whose speech was outwardly worse than yours, and also people who had really good speech, and had said that their speech hadn't always been that good. So it was like that sort of...
help me on the positivity side things.
Yeah, and it was really interesting to hear their stories. And also, I have to say, as somebody with no apparent speech impediments, difficulties, how much patience it takes to work through from your point of view. I mean, I've had to learn how to. I think our communication now is like really, really good for the most part. We've really had to work hard at understanding each other, haven't we?
But I think you've found the right prompts to do if you see that I'm struggling with a particular way.
I think we come up with it together because you have to give the answers, don't you? Do you know what I mean? So like, if something doesn't work, and that's what I would say.
Does that officially mean we're a team then?
We're a team.
Okay.
High five.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I would say, as a carer, somebody or a friend of somebody who has brain injury or speech difficulties or whatever, don't be scared to try different things, but also ask the person, because I have noticed and I've seen how people are completely dismissive and just ignore people and speak to the carer or family member or, basically anybody but the person themselves. We went to a hospital appointment for something, can't even remember what it was, but the carer said to me, "Can he stand? Because you were in a wheelchair." And I went, "Ask him." She was, yeah. And hands up, I've probably done it myself in the past. I hadn't realised, but it's definitely been a big learning curve, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, even like you say, the professionals doesn't seem to make any difference. So now when I meet somebody, I usually start with something, "Hi, I'm Bob. I've had a stroke," but just go with it.
Yeah. So that's the other big thing I would say, because I think initially as well, you were embarrassed to be seen out or to speak to people or whatever, because things were really, really just very, very difficult for you to cope with generally being out, which we'll talk about again.
But also, and I think that embarrassment developed as I began to accept I was having a complete shift in my belief systems. And it was quite hard to believe it, even though I just say, I know I'm right in the middle of it, but I still find it hard to accept it. But eventually I passed the tipping point and said, I gave into it and said, yeah.
Yeah, and I think when you did start saying to people, especially if you sort of had a bit of a rant in public or something, somebody reached across and you were like, "Oh, go on, carry on," I'd just say, "I'm sorry, he's had a stroke." And to see the reactions, people weren't like taking the mick out of you, or they weren't like, there weren't any sort of negative repercussions of that in a way. That it was, people were just like, "Oh, that's fine." It sort of became, that's fine for you to say then, wasn't it, as well?
But please be careful. When it says I had a rant in public, that wasn't me screaming and shouting. I'd usually raise my voice considerably and use my best observative. She gave me a funny look again.
If we were on video, you would see the look. Yeah. It's just different perceptions, my dear.
Well, that's it.
Yeah. So, yeah, and because you've always been very meek and mild, and maybe inside raging and not, saying something,
I've never been meek. I'm very good at. I was always very good at controlling my emotions.
Yeah. Externally meek and mild, I should say. Yeah. But yeah, you there was no filter, was there, initially?
No.
So, and I have to say, the filter is not entirely back in place, but it's not a bad thing either. It's not a bad thing. So I think that's it for this week. We've gone over a little bit, but that's just because of the technical issue.
Yeah, we may or may not continue it a little bit, and interlace it with whatever is coming next for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't quite decided what that is yet, but we'll just roll with it and see.
Because we've got coffee and cake.
Got coffee and cake to have now, and I've got a pad here that I've got other things written down on. So,
and before you ask, afternoon coffee is one of my daily jobs on the whiteboard, so I have to do it.
Maybe we'll talk about that next time then, about routines and checklists and things like that. That would be a good sort of lead on. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I haven't switched comments on underneath the videos because
I haven't got any videos.
No, the video's on YouTube though. Podcast on YouTube, it's a video.
You'll explain that.
I'll explain that to you after. But I haven't put comments on, so if anybody wants to actually say anything, ask any questions, our email is
bwhackpodcast@gmail.com. .com.
There you go. bwacpodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, so that's it for this week.
So, as they say in Liverpool, ta-ra for now.
See you next week. Bye.